The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. New York's Attorney General Letitia James has sued former President Donald Trump and his company. He's accused of fraud and inflating the value of his properties and his personal wealth. While this civil case is civil, it has been turned over also for criminal prosecution. My first guest lays out what she is alleging, that being the Attorney General in New York, against Trump and his children.
She claims that President Trump has inflated his assets worth to gain benefits that other people wouldn't have been able to gain in loans, insurance, and other aspects. And an obvious example of that is Mar-a-Lago, where she claims he asserted that value close to $800 million. And she thinks it's closer to $75 million. So 10 times.
And really quick, Dr. Von Biedenfeld, it's not that she just thinks it's 70 million. Professionals came in and gave it that value, right?
Absolutely. And in around 2018, Fortune valued it around 160 million. And so you might assert that reasonable people could purchase it for more. This president, during the term, very much capitalized on the name recognition by encouraging foreign dignitaries and their entourages to stay at his properties, right? It's not just the president of China, it's 10 floors of a hotel because of the security detail, translators, and other personal assistants. And they would all stay at Aberdeen or other places associated with the Trump brand. So the Attorney General James is saying, not you, not Eric, not Ivanka are going to do business in this state again. She's seeking to get $250 million of disgorgement, which, if you're not actually worth $1 billion, could be a lot of money. And she's seeking to bar them from real estate transactions for 5 years. And she's further seeking to bar the organization from forming any further LLCs, which is how the Trump organization has really maneuvered through some of these areas. And we've talked about Ruth's Chris before, but the Trump organization capitalizes on some of these small business models to capitalize on benefits, while the aggregate benefit goes to former President Trump.
And we're not just talking about civil case. She has also recommended criminal cases, she says, where she's found criminal activity. She's recommended that to the federal government and to the state government to investigate. So that could be more trouble for the Trump family.
Absolutely, because many of these assets, while the corporations are under the jurisdiction of New York, the properties might be in New Jersey, Florida, or even internationally. So then the federal government gets involved with charges of fraud, misrepresentation, and other sorts of penalties where when you file Chapter 11, that removes many of your investors' protections. You get to keep on operating. And so President Trump, Hillary Clinton called him out on this 6 times, had filed bankruptcy with his organizations, and that Chapter 11 allowed the businesses to continue to operate, reorganize, and generate profits for President Trump and his children, while other investors lost quite a bit of their capital.
Now, I remember covering Enron and hearing some of the details of the case against, or the civil case against former President Donald Trump. It feels almost the same, where they are accused, or they have said they have more value than is actually there in the company. And we're talking about to the tune for the Trumps hundreds of millions of dollars when they have an apartment unit and they're giving it this value that's just crazy. Is this typical on how many companies in the U.S. do business, or some of them, and they go undetected by the government?
You drew a perfect parallel, because this isn't the operation of most companies, but many companies do exercise their legal protections. That's why there's this push for this $80 billion for the IRS that you and I aren't big fans of to begin with. But the fact of the matter is, many companies have used Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings, used modifying their business structure and size to capitalize on tax benefits that they were not intended to get, and even speculate or promise to investors certain property developments.
Should the Trumps be concerned about the civil suit and what could happen with these criminal charges, or rather criminal cases or criminal findings that the Attorney General is sending to the Department of Justice and to state investigators. Should the Trump family be concerned about all of this?
I'll say no and yes. No, because on the basis of their business dealings, their legal structures and protections, the Trump organization has just been using loopholes within our legal structure to make money. And so many voters like the fact that he was a businessman. And so even if they lost money in it and he made money on their poor valuation or misrepresentation, they're proud of him for making this money. So legally, it's not as strong a case as it might be politically. The yes is he's being hit from multiple directions. And as any person who's a scholar of World War I or World War II can tell you, you don't do very well in multi-front wars. So when you're being hit with allegations, criminal allegations of mishandling documents in Florida, and then you're being hit with various allegations and personal allegations of abuse of office by the ethics commissions, and now you're adding on top of that basically a bar to your corporation incorporating in the model that you've used to make money. So you can't continue this pattern of behavior the way you've done it, your strategy, and your children too. I would be very worried about my head spinning because it's not on a swivel.
Got it. Dr. Dietrich von Biedenfeld from the University of Houston downtown. Always good to see you and to make sense of this for us, sir. Thank you. We appreciate you tonight on The Factor.
Yes, sir.
And there's more to this case. The New York Attorney General is also asking the courts to ban all of their assets from corporate leadership and positions, that being the Trump family.